What's up, Kaetram players? Today I will try to explain the enchanting system in Kaetram. Enchanting is used to upgrade your gear and weapons, and it gives it extra effects that are really helpful when doing PvM and bossing. And also for skilling, just all around, there are many activities in the game that will greatly benefit from enchanted gear. Currently, there are enchantments on 3 different categories of items. We have weapons, rings, and chest plates. The chest enchantments all provide like a defense buff in a certain way. The rings are all skilling buffs, and the weapons are all related to damage. And for the weapons, different types of weapons have different types of enchant. So melee has different enchants than ranged, and um, yeah, they have like a specific thing. In order to enchant items, you need 2 things. You need shards. There are different tiers of shards, and you need an item to enchant. And with that item, you will go. Let's step outside. With that item, you will go here to the Kingdom of Kaetram. There's a trap door, like a ladder downstairs here, and you'll be able to find the enchanting table there. We will walk there shortly. Enchanting has no requirement in terms of levels or skills, but in order to get the best enchantments possible that are worth your while, you want to use tier 5 shards. And there's actually a way to combine all these lower tier shards into tier 5 shards. And I'll show you right now. You can do this at any crafting table, and it can be a really good source of early game XP. But these shards are really expensive. So here in the crafting table there's a shard category, and here you can combine 2 shards of the previous tier into a higher tier. So I can here convert all these tier 2 shards into tier 3, or tier 1 into tier 2, tier 2 in tier 3, tier 3 in 4, and 4 in 5. That way I will end up with tier 5 shards, and those are the ones that you are gonna be that you wanna use. Because currently there is no reason to use lower tier shards, because there are 2 downsides, which we'll get to later. We'll quickly combine our shards. So now you're asking, okay, these shards, how do you get them? You can get shards from any type of PvM activity, and higher level mobs and higher level bosses have higher rates of dropping these shards. I think the bosses have like separate drop tables for obtaining shards, so I think the most efficient way to get shards right now is killing like the most difficult bosses in the game. But for lower level people, this is not, of course, feasible. It only really works if you are already close to endgame. You will, during your journey in Kaetram, run into like shards, and please save them, because these tier 5 shards, they go for I think 10k. People are like selling them for 10k a piece right now in the stock market. So just the tier 5 shards right here would be valued at 1,000,000 coins, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, so yeah. Then there is shards that have tiers, and there are field shards. Field shards are special because normal shards are used to enchant gear, and field shards are used to disenchant gear, which is quite sketchy, because basically what you can do is put a shard in the enchanting table together with a weapon, and if you put in like a tier 5 shard with a weapon, you will craft an enchanted weapon. But if you put a failed shard and a weapon in the enchantment table, you will disenchant the weapon and it will turn into shards. So that is also a way to get more tier 5 shards, is use failed shards on stuff and you will get enchanting shards, which is a kind of a nice item sink. However, currently it is quite hard to get failed shards. The drop rates of it are not super high, and it is really not worth it to disenchant most weapons and gear, because pretty much all of the gear in the game right now has quite a high monetary value, and the shards that you get from disenchanting are dependent on the rarity of the item. So here I have an epic item. It will turn into better shards than if I were to use this just normal ring that doesn't have any rarity. And there's like a legendary item, and if I disenchant this item, then it will give me even more shards. But I think the shards ranges from like 1 to 5 tier 1 to tier 5 shards, but most of the time you will get lower tiered shards. So you are sacrificing a failed shard together with a weapon to get a couple shards, so it's really not worth it to do that at the moment. Especially because there's not really an easy source to get a lot of legendary and mythical gear at the moment. Like a moon axe will take you a long time to grind, so disenchanting that for a couple shards is probably not worth it. You're better off grinding for them. Okay. Well, let's visit the enchantment table. First, I'm actually gonna do some enchanting in this video. I have an Arjuna's robe that I want to enchant, and I actually have two, so we'll bring them both. And I want to enchant some rings to just show. I think this is the best in slot melee ring. We'll take them with us too. Let's stick these ones at the bottom here. Okay, now it's kind of organized, I guess. Let's deposit the lower tier shards. Okay. So when it comes to, okay, now we are gonna walk all the way to the kingdom of Kaetram and to the enchantment table. There are no skill requirements. You can do this from a level 1 account, but some mobs might target you and you might get one shot on the way. So it's you're better off leveling up a bit. And at the moment, these shards are really expensive. They're like 10k a pop, and you can use multiple in a single enchantment. So in the early game, it's really worth holding on to these or selling them even to get high tier gear. And then once you get to the end game, you get like shrimp bows, candy cane bows, witch's staff of the moons, moon axes, or like fox gargoyle bodies. Then it's really worth to start enchanting stuff, because these end game items are expensive, so enchanting them makes sense. But if you're leveling up, you're only going to use a sword for maybe a couple hours once you get, and then will get access to the next sword. So it is better to hold on to your shards and save them up for a high tier enchant. There are different enchantments for melee. There is the evasion enchant and thorns. Evasion makes you dodge, gives you extra dodge chance, that's so that you don't get hit. And thorns reflects damage that you are dealt to the enemy that you're fighting. And damage that gets dealt to you, of course. And there's a really good overview of all the enchantments for every piece of gear on the Kaetram wiki that is quite accurate. However, the proc rates, or exactly how effective enchantments are in game, yeah, it's a bit not exactly clear. So once you enter Hell, you see here at the bottom, there is a portal to the enchantment table. chest enchantment tables. It's kind of funny. And here you see your inventory and all the stuff. And to enchant an item, you want to click on the piece of gear you want to enchant and the shards, and then you press enchant. Then you see you have used 12 shards in your enchantment attempt. So just this one enchant, Thorns 4, just cost me 12 tier 5 shards. So that's kind of ass. And it is Thorns 4, so it's not even a best in slot enchant. Because Thorns 5 is what you really want. Yeah. When you're enchanting, there's also a 5% chance to get an extra enchant with your main enchant. So if that would proc this, it would have proc this time, I would have gotten Thorns 4 combined with a different enchant, which would be evasion, because melee only has, or like chest plates only have 2 enchants. But we didn't get lucky this time. Let's see if we get lucky now. And this time I used 2 tier 5 shards. I think it's actually inaccurate. I think it used 3. That's a bug. It probably tried to roll 2 times, but it failed twice. Okay, that's interesting. As I could have sworn I had 180 before I started this enchantment attempt. And now we basically have 2 pieces of gear that are pretty, yeah, they're pretty bad. They don't have any good enchants that I'm ever gonna use. So we want to disenchant the enchant off of it. We do that by putting an enchanted piece of gear in the table together with a failed shard. And then it will remove the enchantment. Let's do that again. And you need to be really careful that this piece of gear is actually enchanted. Otherwise it will turn into shards. I'll show that now. If I put an unenchanted piece of gear, let's say this ruby ring, with a failed shard, it will turn into low tier shards, which is really not worth it because these failed shards are also quite expensive. Let's try it again. Let's see if we can get a good enchantment. No, evasion. It says I used 3 shards. It used 4. So that's bugged. And there it enchanted my item. I got evasion again. Let's try again. It's really annoying that this interface is... Oh, I almost clicked enchant on this. You don't want to do that because then your Arjuna's blessed robe is gone. Okay. Now it used 3 shards again. Got Thorns 3. Thorns 4. I'm actually gonna settle with Thorns 4 right now because I don't think I'll be using this gear a lot because I want to get the higher tiered stuff, and I don't want to waste more shards because I already used like probably like 300k worth of shards just on this Arjuna's robe. When it comes to the effects of enchantments, chest plates has thorns and evasion. Thorns reflects damage. Evasion increases the chance of dodging. I'm not sure if the dodging effect works because it's impossible to test it at the moment because you cannot really see if you dodged because you were lucky or you had high defense or the mob just missed, or whether that dodge was caused by your enchant. But you can see that Thorns is really working, so I would advise that if you are going to kill bosses and you want to deal more DPS, take less damage, that means ending getting the kill faster, and you want to have Thorns for that. Then for the rings, there are 2 types of enchants for every skill, and you can get any enchant for you can get like you cannot choose which enchant you're gonna get, so you get a random one in a random skill, and there's a mining there are mining enchants, there are woodcutting, foraging, and fishing enchantments. Um, Here we can see an example of the two foraging enchantments, Nature's Bounty and Forager's Wisdom. The Wisdom enchant increases your XP, so you have a 5% chance of getting double XP. And the Nature's Bounty enchant has a 5% chance of getting an extra item. For woodcutting, you have Forest Echo and another enchant for woodcutting. The Forest Echo doubles your logs, has a chance of 5% to get double logs. And there's another enchant that I think it's not this one. No, that will get you double XP from chopping a tree with a 5% chance. So rings have a chance to double your XP or your logs that you get from a tree or items that you get from any resource. And then there are weapon enchants. And for melee weapons, there's Cleave, which has a small chance to do like an AoE damage when you attack a mob, which is not really useful because there are not a lot of instances where you are bunching up a lot of mobs on the same tile, especially if you are using melee. There is lifesteal and critical. And lifesteal does what you think it does. It has like a chance to proc, and it will heal you for up to, I think at tier 5 you heal for like 25% of the hit you dealt. So it gives a 5% it gives 5% lifesteal per rank. But it doesn't proc every time, but it procs quite often, so it's really nice. It helps a lot with sustaining yourself when you're killing mobs. And there's the critical um, enchantment, and that one is really, really good too, because it gives a small chance to deal extra damage. And when it procs, it will double your damage. And together with it stacks with lifesteal, so if you get a critical proc and a lifesteal proc at the same time, you will heal for a lot of health. Then for ranged, there is stun, which has a chance to stun whatever you're fighting for, I think, a couple seconds. It's quite a long stun. And magic quiver, and magic quiver has a chance to save arrows. And then there's also for ranged and for mage. I think the mage and range are largely, yeah, they're very similar. There's also explosive enchant, and that is the same like as cleave. It will deal like some AoE damage whenever you're fighting an enemy if it procs, but the damage is not really that big, so this is not super good in most cases. And it doesn't really proc often. But yeah, stun is amazing for bossing, and magic also has mana steal, which like regens you some mana when it procs, which is like a small boost, but you can just also spend money and drink mana potions, but it can save you a bit. Those are all the enchants that you can get. So for weapons you get like either stun is really good for ranged weapons, for ranged and for mage. That's what you really want. And for melee weapons you really want lifesteal and crit, especially for bossing because it increases your DPS and saves you a lot of food. For skilling you want to get a skilling ring that has like a boost in XP or items depending on what you're going for. And I think the increase in resources or XP is like 5% for if you get a tier 5 enchant. And for melee armor you want thorns or evasion. And thorns increases your damage also, so that is my preference. But yeah, evasion can also be nice. There is like a special one place where Evasion is definitely a lot better than Thorns, which is at Frost Queen, because at Frost Queen you don't want Thorns because of the boss mechanics. It will spawn a lot more ads if you have Thorns on your gear. Yeah, so in terms of enchantments, what is like the thing you like really want to go for if you're really lucky is a double enchant. So here I have some double enchants. I got a lifesteal critical for 4 Moon Axe and a stun for Magic Quiver 5 Candy Cane Bow. I have here like a chest plate with thorns and evasion on it, which is really nice. And these double enchants have a chance of 5% at the moment to proc. So every time you enchant a piece of gear, there's a 5% chance that it also rolls a second enchant. And the highest rank that you can roll is tier 5. And yeah, the ideal weapon or piece of gear that you want would have the enchants that you want, both in tier 5. So that is, of course, a small chance. I think for the shards, tier 1 shards have a 10% chance of getting an enchant up to level 1. Tier 2 have a 20% chance to enchant gear up to level 2. Tier 3, same to tier 4, it goes on like that. And then tier 5 shards have a 50% chance of successfully enchanting gear up to tier 5 of the enchant. So that's the highest tier enchant that you can get in the game. Because the enchantment tier and the probability of successfully enchanting weapons increases as you combine shards into higher tier shards, you pretty much always want to use tier 5 shards because they're the best, and you always want to get the best enchant possible, right? And the chance of the tier 5 shard, tier 5 enchant hitting. So it's always optimal to use tier 5 shards. These double enchant, especially if you have for on the rings like a double Nature's Bounty, Forger's Wisdom enchantment on a piece of gear that is like really, there are only like a couple of these in the game maybe with enchants that are matching and both tier 5. It's really hard to get, so don't expect it. But yeah, you can get lucky and get like a matching tier 5 shard that has some synergy, tier 5 enchant that has some synergy, and yeah, that would be really cool. I'm actually going to enchant these rings right now and see if we can get anything worthwhile on there. Okay. Here we got the double enchant. We got Lumber Trove and Fisher's Gift. I think these are like both XP enchant. So that's actually, this would be like, there's an incredibly small chance of getting a double 5/5. But this ring is kind of shit because it is XP ring and I don't really care for XP because I just need a lot of resources to build my account up. And these enchants do not match. I will definitely keep this ring because it's quite rare and there might be a use case someday, but because these enchants do not have synergy with each other, they're not really boosting each other. It's not that insane, but it's really lucky to get a double enchant. On this try, I enchanted it with one shard. Okay, let's try again. This time we got Forest Echo 4. We got Ocean's Abundance 2, which is really shit. I used 2 shards for that. Miner's Intuition 4, which is like the mining XP ring. This was Lumber Trove 2. Forger's Wisdom 5. Getting kinda Nature's Bounty 1. Lumber Throw 5. And Fisher's Gift 1. Now we enchanted a couple rings. And we used quite a bit of shards. I think I started this video with 193 shards from the back of my head. So we used 44 shards, which is at the moment like 450k. So RIP 500,000 coins, I guess. Mm. And for that we got this 5/5 that has some like not very useful enchants. We got 2 tier 5 rings, so these might be worth keeping. Lumber Trove and Forger's Wisdom are, I think they are the XP variants both, so they're not that useful to me because I want resources. And I already have like a gold ring for forging anyway, so probably won't need this one. And I got these shitty thorns chest plates. Let's just do one final try on this Arjuna's chest plate. Okay, interesting. We got a tier 5 evasion, tier 2 thorns. I'll keep that one and try the other one as well. Let's disenchant this one. This is fucking annoying. Disenchant the enchanted piece. Try to enchant it once more. Ah, this one is... We're getting insanely lucky with the double rolls. This never happens. But I got evasion 5, thorns 3. Let's disenchant. Oh, I put it on accidentally. I'm an Iron Man, so I have no use for like this. And it's not that good. It is really good, but I don't need it. Let's disenchant the 5 too. Oh. And we use the tier 5 on the gear piece again. Nothing. Tier 4 thorns. Tier 3 evasion. I really want tier... It would be cool to get a tier 5 thorns enchant on this. Tier 5 evasion. Oh, actually, I'm gonna keep this one because this one might be good for Frost Queen because you don't want thorns on your gear on Frost Queen. Okay. This is basically how enchanting works. You will, yeah, you need like a lot of items, and one trick is to get rid of enchantments. You can do two things. One is using a field shard, but there is like, I don't know if it works still. A secret trick on normal accounts. If you take a piece of enchanted gear, you can sell it to the vendor for money. So if I sell this Ocean's Abundance ring to sell for 690, which is like the normal amount, I think. And this way, you can just sell rings and make more of them without expanding field shards to enchant more. Because some items are really easy to, yeah, they're really easy to make. Like these rings require just some gold and some gems. So it is more efficient to make a lot of rings, enchant them all, and sell which ones you are not gonna need, rather than using field shards on them and rolling enchants on them, because these rings all have skilling enchants, so you don't really use them for combat. So the stats on them don't really matter. All you care about is if the enchantment is good on them. Let's sell all the Shitty rings. Or the rings that I have no tier 5 enchant. Okay, for normal counts, what you can also do, like these rings, I think how it works is they go into the clerk. I'm an Iron Man, so I cannot like buy my stuff back or see what other people are selling. But if you're a normal account, what you can do is sell items to the vendor and then buy them back. It will cost you money because buying them back is I think 5 times more expensive than selling them, or like between 2 and 5 times or something like that. But in many cases, especially for rings, it can be it is like a really fast and cheap way to disenchant items without using field shards. Um, so yeah, that's a small trick. I'll just yeah, that's the video basically. Good luck on your enchanting journey. Make sure to only enchant like high level gear that you're actually gonna use, because enchanting is really expensive. In this video, I think I used now like 70 shards, so that's 700k gold. That's expensive. It's a bit of a waste. Yeah, good luck, and I hope you found this video useful.